This week's Mounjaro update is all about what happened after I injected in my belly for the first time in 7 or 8 months. And y'all, it reminded me really quick why I stopped injecting in my belly. So this is my real week 6 update on 12.5 milligram Mounjaro. The hunger, the nausea, side effects, blood sugar, weight update, and then I will take my week 7 injection with y'all. And yes, I'm absolutely going back to injecting in my arm. Welcome to Slow and Steady with Andy. I'm Andy, and I am on Mounjaro for type 2 diabetes, insulin resistance, PCOS, or as it's now called PMOS, perimenopause, and ridiculously slow weight loss. I did record a separate video going more into injection sites and why I think it might matter if you're on a GLP-1 and still experiencing hunger all the time. So I'm not going to turn this weekly update into that discussion again. This one is more about what actually happened in my body this week after injecting in my belly again. So just a quick recap, if this is your first time watching one of my videos, last week I did inject in my belly after 7 or 8 months of strictly injecting in my arm or my thigh. And it was virtually painless, which is why injecting in the belly is always so tempting for me. And I really knew with my past experience of injecting in my belly that odds were my appetite suppression was going to be weaker. But there was a part of me that had a hope that maybe since it had been so long and I was on a much higher dose than I was at the time when I was injecting in my belly, that maybe something had changed and I can go back to poking myself pain-free. But I pretty quickly found out that no, it still didn't work well for me, and my appetite suppression practically disappeared. So that was really rough to deal with. But I am proud of myself because I did stay on track, even though I was experiencing a lot of moments of hunger that I'm not used to feeling since being on this medication. I did stay on track. So I guess in a way it was comforting to know that even without maybe the effect of the medication, that being on it for so long has taught me something and helped me to just be stronger mentally and to really zero in on what true hunger was versus maybe a craving or a boredom type of hunger. So, yes, I did stay on track, thankfully, but it was not easy. Usually in the morning, I have my first meal around maybe 8 or 9 a.m. I wake up around 6 a.m. So I've been up for a couple hours before I need to eat something. And one of the main reasons why I do have something for breakfast is because if I don't, my blood sugar will start to drop. My Dexcom here will start screeching at me and tell me to eat something. But because of the appetite suppression, I have to force myself to, I mean, I don't want to say force, like, whatever, but I have to mentally really think about my eating schedule. However, this week, I woke up from hunger pains. And I don't know if you've ever experienced this. If you have, let me know. But it was this burning, empty stomach type of pain that I really can't remember ever feeling. It was like almost like acid in my stomach, just burning, and I was like, what is going on? And I got no relief from it until I did have something. And for me, a typical breakfast is a couple of eggs with maybe some sauteed spinach, or sometimes I'll have eggs and my 20-gram Oikos zero sugar, or no, Chobani zero added sugar yogurt drink. So those were mainly the things that I was having in the morning, and that pain would quickly go away once I did have food in my stomach. So I do think that I was just feeling that true empty stomach feeling because, like I said, I still was staying on track and eating my 3 meals a day and my one evening type of snack to help keep my blood sugar stable through the night. But it definitely was a lot harder mentally to stay on track because I would just be sitting and I was having a bit of food noise. I'm sure that's what that must be. I feel like I haven't had any type of cravings or food noise in so long that I almost forgot what that feeling is. But I don't know. I just definitely noticed that I had more thoughts about eating things this week. And aside from my appetite suppression being crap this week, I had some other side effects that I typically do not experience when I inject in my arm or my thigh. And one of those was a much stronger nausea than I've ever really felt or that I remember feeling. I don't know if that was tied into that burning stomach feeling and it was just all making me nauseous, but that nausea feeling lasted throughout the week at various times. I couldn't place any rhyme or reason on when it happened. It would just kind of happen, but I didn't like that too much. I still had my burps and my farts as normal. If you've been with me for a while, you know I'm not too shy to say that, yes, I burp and I fart more than maybe a typical person because of my medication and what I choose to eat on the medication. But that's just a normal for me, so I don't really care. And as long as my husband still loves me, then I really don't care. As far as my blood sugar, that was still stable. I didn't notice any changes with the readings I was getting on my Dexcom, so that was good. As far as sleep or energy levels, I think I still have been getting really good sleep since I've been taking my melatonin melton strips every night before bed. And then with the next day, I am feeling just a lot of energy, which is good. It's been very, very hot here. And surprisingly, I still was outside doing my garden work and doing all the things and getting in the pool. So I do feel like that I got a lot of activity and I feel lighter. Do you guys ever just feel like somewhere your body just feels lighter? I'm having that feeling. So I was hoping that that is what the scale was going to show. Maybe I was feeling like 50-pound loss. No, I know I can't lose 50 pounds in a week, but I was hoping for at least maybe 1 or 2 pounds. But as you're going to see when I pop up my scales app on the screen, my weight was pretty much the same. I think last week I was 233.2, and if my perimenopausal brain remembers correctly, this morning it was at 233.4 or 233.6. I don't know. We'll discover it together when I put it on the screen. But hey, I will take it as long as we aren't going like up 2, 3, 10 pounds. That's okay. I'm still having hope that something is just going to finally click. My body will finally have healed itself and I will just start to see more of a consistent weight loss. I really, really just want to get under that 200 mark. I haven't been there under 200 pounds since probably like 2010. So I just want to get there. Mentally, I feel like that would just give me that big push of encouragement that I feel like I'm needing right now to just stay strong. I'm not quitting. I have no plan of stopping. This is a lifelong journey for me, and especially since being on Mounjaro, it has made it a much more peaceful experience for me. So I am going to keep going, it would just be nice to have that nice big burst of good news to just let me know that all this hard work is worth it. But I will say that mentally feeling that appetite suppression fade away was a bit stressful, made me a bit panicky feeling, because there is just like such a peaceful feeling that comes when you're on this medication. And since I'm talking about it, this is something my husband and I were actually talking about, because he is really starting to experience that amazing feeling of just not being as hungry as you were. He's like, I have to stop ordering certain things that I used to order because I can't eat them anymore. It's just too much food. Like, he went to breakfast with a friend and he got an omelet. And typically around here, we go to a Coney Island type of restaurant and they give you an omelet and then you get hash browns and toast. And I think that's pretty much it. But, usually he could eat that whole plate of food. He's a big dude. He's 6'4", and he's just in general a big dude. He is overweight and knows that and wants to lose weight. But even if he were to drop to his ideal weight, he's still a big dude. So that plate of food really wouldn't be much for him. But he's like, I couldn't even eat half of it. So I'm just really excited for him to start also experiencing that peace. And the point I was getting at is, this week, injecting in my belly and losing a lot of those amazing benefits from being on the medication was mentally not a good feeling. I don't want to go back to feeling like that. But I know at some point we may just come off of these medications. I don't think I will, because I'm type 2 diabetic and I choose this medication over metformin or something else, because I have been on metformin in the past and I despise it and don't want to be on it ever again. Mounjaro has been the best medication I've been on. So there's that. But I don't know what happens when you've been on it for like years and your body's just totally used to being at, say, 15 milligram at some point. That's the highest dose. Where do you go from there? I don't know, but we can probably talk about that in another video at some point. But going back to my husband again really quick, which is why I started talking about it. I'm sorry, perimenopause, my brain wanders. But he had strictly been injecting in his belly. He does not get the nice little pens that you get if you're on one of the name brand medications. We get his GLP-1 compound semaglutide through a company called Poly, and that medication comes in vials, and then he has to load up a syringe with his weekly dose. And those syringes, even though they're the really tiny needles, they still sting a bit more, and it's just much easier to push a button and have it auto eject than having to push on a syringe yourself. Mentally, there's just something not real fun about that. But a couple weeks ago, he tried injecting, or I injected it in his arm, and he did not have the bad diarrhea that he's been experiencing for the past couple months. And then he ended up injecting in his belly again a week after, and he went right back to the diarrhea. So we are going to give his injection this week in his arm and see what happens, because it may just be that he's one of those people like me that have a different type of reaction based on the injection location that he chooses. So it's definitely something to consider. So that is pretty much this week's update. And like I mentioned, after what happened to me after injecting in my belly again, your girl is going back to injecting in the arm this time around. So let me get that set up and we will take that injection together, or you'll watch me take that injection, but we won't take the injection together. You guys know what I mean. Okay, here we go. 2 seconds of pain, right? It's worth it to have my hunger go away. 3, 2, 1, go. That surprisingly wasn't too bad this week. I think I found that special spot a couple weeks ago. I should get a tattoo right there so I can remember that for whatever reason that spot doesn't hurt very much. So that was my belly injection week, you guys, and I am ready to move on from it. I don't know yet if going back to injecting in my arm will bring back my appetite suppression like I'm hoping, but that is what I will be watching for this week. If your GLP-1 has ever felt different from one week to the next, or if you are somebody who has also had different results from different injection sites, please tell me in the comments. I would love to hear about it. I really do think that hearing other people's experiences helps because sometimes we don't really notice different patterns until somebody says it out loud. I'm going back to what seems to work better for my body. I'm paying attention and just taking this week by week, sometimes day by day. If this was a rough GLP-1 week for you too, you're not alone here. We are still showing up, still figuring it out, and still doing this slow and steady. See y'all next week. Bye.
Been through a lot of pain. Some things are not the same as they were a year ago, but all will be okay. I move on each and every day. The past is where it stays, way back a year ago. I've changed for the better this time. I thought I would never be fine. I strive just to say I'm alright, and for the first time in a long time I'm alright. I've seen a lot of change, been through a lot of pain.